to the DP, you make the DP very strong, and obviously against the Slada, and you're not going to get the hero in the second phase. So I can see why the two teams here are prioritizing picking up the cores. They want to get the pairing that they want.
And mid to late game, DP Sven, you win one team fight, you kill a Rex in 10 seconds, if not faster. It is incredible, and they go hand in hand, especially against the Slaughter. I really like the pick.
Yeah, we've talked before about the Warcry against the amplified damage.
7 seconds where you're pretty much like immune.
There's so much physical damage. When we talk about physical damage, heroes like Dazzle, Timbersaw all come into my mind that could be good in this type of game.
Just on the Timbersaw as well, I was looking that up in the last series. They've only played that 4 times in the last 12 months.
Liquid?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
4
probably
times in the last 12
probably
months.
not one of their...
We already saw a Weaver, which they only played twice in the last 12 months, and they did quite well with that.
Who knows what they got up their
Exactly,
sleeves.
that's the point, isn't it? We don't know what they practice. We don't know what they've done coming into the tournament.
But don't you think that he's going to play Slada this game?
Who? Mind Control?
Mind Control?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, we just brought up some stats.
Oh.
But the other thing is that, remember, Liquid will have the first phase of the first pick coming out of this. So the Phoenix will still be on the table here unless Newbee ban it. But remember, it was Jerax that played. Jerax is typically their Phoenix player, and it was him that played the Disruptor last night.
So I do ban out the Enchantress, the aggression hero for them.
Yeah, because Liquid has the first pick in this phase here, so Newbee don't want to run the risk of the hero going away. So we can see that the team here prioritizing in all the early aggression heroes, all taken out.
What
cards are we looking here for Liquid? Usually they like to run... Do they want to go back to that Lycan? Lycan is not that good against Sven and DP.
They've deliberately... Newbee at this point have deliberately left it in.
Yeah.
How about Invoker? Like, so you have burst for the DP.
Invoker could be good. And then
I don't know.
But it's like really greedy again with DP there already. First game they got completely demolished with it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
They have to be a bit hesitant with that.
You don't think the Lycan comes out?
The Lycan could come out, but at this point Newbee's really baiting them into it. Like they're like, pick it.
Because they've already got the Sphere?
So if they pick Lycan, they will probably go for the Wyvern, the Winter Wyvern.
Right. Yeah. And if Liquid picks Lycan now, they're like, okay, we know we can win. That's their statement.
Yeah,
but they do go with the
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Was a safer bet.
It's really good. I really love Phoenix against DP in general. DP will never build attack speed. You can never reliantly kill the egg. And Sven, until he gets Echo Saber, he also has a very hard time killing the egg if you're getting hit by the second spell of Phoenix.
So where does Newbee go here?
Well, Newbee needs... They do have control, they do have survivability.
Don't you want heroes to deal with the Sunray?
Yeah.
Probably.
But there's no Disruptor. There's no...
There's Nyx, but...
There's Rubik, there's AA, there's...
Like when we talk about dealing with Sunray, we're talking about...
Carapace mostly.
Yeah, Carapace like long range mini stuns or silences or disables. But Bounty is not that good. Disruptor's already picked. Bad Rider is...
I still like the Rubik or AA. Those are two picks that Newbee's going back to. Maybe the AA a little bit less, but...
How about Snowball?
Tusk?
Yeah.
Newbee have a history of running
You can
Tusk.
reach the Sunray Phoenix.
Yeah. Wouldn't be too bad. Would give him 2 saves for the DP as well.
Yep.
They've played Tusk a couple of times already here.
Yeah, on Kaka, right? Yeah. Kaka really likes playing Tusk. They already They already denied his Phoenix.
Yeah, Venge too.
Venge could be possible, yeah. Would amplify their push as well. Save DP.
Rubik.
They do go with the Rubik,
Come back to the Rubik.
It's really good against Slaughter anyway. If you ever steal the amp damage, then suddenly you have a Slaughter against you, because why is Slaughter so strong? Because of the amp damage. And if you suddenly amp the Slaughter himself or anyone on that team, DP and Sven are going to chew through him.
There's another reason in the OG series where they gave away Slaughter, and they went for the Rubik plus Venge.
Yeah.
So they have supports that have instant disable, so it's very difficult for Slaughter to come in.
When he blinks, you instantly lift him.
Lift cross.
You can even pre-click him when you lift, and you just lift him in.
Yeah.
I really like that. But it doesn't solve their egg problem yet.
Yeah, this is where Liquid, though, has to make the decision of whether to commit to the Lycan.
Committing to the Lycan seems so tough right now that they're really baiting them into it. They can still go for the Winter. Winter would be perfect here too, because they have so much split anti-push. It would be an amazing hero for them here.
And that I think is a big part of the answer why...
They've got a Drow Ranger strategy.
Drow strat! Oh my goodness, that is one I did not see coming.
It's quite quite effective against DP because it gives your heroes a lot of damage, and it depends what you pair with it. We see a lot of maybe some games Invoker, Wind Ranger. It gives those heroes, it gives those two heroes a lot of damage, or even a TA in some cases. So the Wyvern.
They do go for the Winter. I really like it though.
Against auras, you can't argue with it, right? All of a sudden, Drow's damage aura is working against her.
Yeah, and you go for physical damage only with Drow because that's the reason you pick her. I do think Newbee is gonna ban the Invoker now, and then Liquid is really forced to go out all physical, and then that makes the Winter pick even better than that.
I think if they ban the Invoker, you instantly pick Puck, though, don't you?
But
they want more scaling. Probably they might want more scaling, like we mentioned, TA, Windrunner. Okay. All the other heroes that are
picking Puck with a strategy. It's very common, but I feel at this tournament we have seen a lot of good Puck games.
No, Puck has been absolutely awful.
No, wait, it's Liquid. So Fata's probably going to play Razor or like Viper, maybe a Viper.
Yeah, Razor is good, but not against DP. I would like the Viper much more, especially against the Sven. You can Viper Strike him and he's not going to do much.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, but remember, you're giving away Viper Strike every time to Rubik.
And then you Viper Strike the Slaughter, and then Slaughter is pretty much out of the game as well.
That's my one concern there. I like the Razor call, though.
I usually like Razor too. I just feel like against DP, Razor is really risky because you need to be close up, and when you're close up, then the ghosts will all eat you.
But that's where the
they banned the Viper.
Remember, there was a slight buff to the break distance on static link. 100. I mean, it's not huge, but it's a little bit more freedom in his positioning.
But usually, when you want to have Razor, it's against heroes that you can really dominate on the lane, and I feel DP actually has an advantage over the Razor on the lane.
You think Darkseer will be a great finishing hero for them? We have to vacuum into curse.
I think, there we go with the Darkseer.
Yep. For Liquid, they're looking for
oh my God!
But we have not seen that. Like they did not run Medusa at all. But Medusa draw is so strong if it meets his mid-late game.
I told you Kuro had one more trick up his sleeve. Oh my goodness.
Medusa plus Supernova.
Yep.
I think Liquid wins.
The old VG combo, we ran that every time.
Unreal.
Winter, what do you think?
These two guys going for Liquid. I'm going for Newbee.
You're sticking with Newbee? Yeah. Okay, but you all said Liquid for the predictions, so...
I did say Newbee will win in the first game, though, based on draft.
Okay, all right. So you're just talking about the draft now. All right, just to clarify. We'll get more from all three of our panel members, of course, at the end of the series, because it is coming. Hold on to your chairs, everyone. Game 3 is upon us.
That's right, Game 3 is here. I'm happy to see the Newbee combination. I was hoping for the Darkseer burst, but Ben, you looked like you drank vinegar when you saw the Medusa pick.
I'm just like, wow, crowd's cheering for Medusa. How times have changed.
We just need to have a Naga and a Medusa in the same game, and then we're all just like, yay, fun is to be had. And that's where we're going right now. Game 3 begins.
Team Liquid versus Newbee.
So it all comes down to this Game 3 between Newbee as well as Team Liquid. Who will join OG in our best of 5 grand final today here at the Manila Major? It's finals day.
We got to talk about these cosmetics, Toby.
Do it.
The golden cloak on the Chuan that we just saw.
I expect nothing else but bling from Chuan.
What do you think of this Shadowcat Drow set?
I do not like it at all, but that's a biased opinion. It's actually got some style. Just don't use the cat ears, and I will be okay with it all. All right, so let's actually look at our game. It looks like we're not going to have any battles over the runes this time around. Everything is a lot more passive.
And we got the electrified river.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah.
We go disco on our map.
Is that Liquid Blue or Newbee Blue?
They can be blue together, man. All right, so Darkseer, I kind of want to talk about this hero. Like, you're up against Disruptor. It seems like KP's going to have a really, really hard lane. Is this the reason why we see him with Iron Talon at the very, very start? Do you almost just abandon until you hit level 4? This is something which I know KP was doing a lot during the group stage games too.
Yeah, I still don't think he's like fully adjusted to the offlane role, and he's one of the few that do get the Iron Talon on the Darkseer. And it's okay. He is versus a Phoenix in lane. I guess Sunray after the glimpse back may be a problem, but
it's actually funny that both these teams are doing exactly the same kind of thing. Fada, oh, okay, Mu really, like, Fada is so weak in lane. Like, he's going to go for a heavy Mystic Snake style build, but in the early stages, Mu owns this lane when he's got Spirit Siphon available. But both Mind Control as well as KP, they both didn't even enter their lanes. They both bought Iron Talon with a couple of tangos and just went jungle.
I've seen Medusa as somewhat of a counter to Death Prophet a few times because the Mana Shield absorbs the Spirit Siphon, and you don't do that much damage, and you don't leech that much life as a Death Prophet. Generally, it's very hard to get around the Spirit Siphon unless you have BKB.
Well, there is one big advantage too, is the fact that Fada, as time goes on, he'll get more and more of that bonus damage coming out from the Drow, and this is the upside as well from Matumberman. The fact that right now he's not having any pressure applied to him up on the top lane, they can just keep farming. Kaka's trying to stay here as close as he possibly can to leech it. If he has to, he'll Arctic Burn over the hillside. Kuro, he actually hasn't leveled up anything yet, so there's no lightning, there's no glimpse available, and Kaka, there you, he's away. Very difficult to get level 1 glimpse ganks off anyway.
But there's a reason we talk about Fada heroes a lot. Looks like he hasn't played any professional games on Medusa and only a few times in the pubs, but he's like the DK, the Razor, the Viper, and the Invoker. I would say those are the main ones. He used to play more like Puck and Mag, but recently has just been the ones that scale a lot. It seems like Medusa is kind of up his alley. Very tanky mid laners that scale very, very well.
It's just a very kind of selfish style hero for a player who is normally like very giving to the rest of his team.
He can beat team fight. The Stone Gaze is very strong in team fights. And then combine that with the amplified damage on the Slardar and Drow Aura, I think it can even take down very tanky heroes like the Sven, even with Warcry up.
Speaking of Sven, I kind of want to watch the stacks being prepared for him too. Like, because you abandoned the lane, like, you could try and stack up the Ancients. We already got ourselves a double stack for Newbee's Ancients at the moment. But because the Darkseer has been inside the jungle and had to abandon it early on, abandon his top lane early on, there's not that much stacking being done currently for the Sven. But you've got your level 4 on the Darkseer, exactly what KP waits for. He's already up on the top lane. The 0-2-2 build, always able to escape, or should be able to escape. Plus the level 2 Iron Shells do work, but Kuro moves over. He's got one in everything right now, so he can drag KP back in a bit, and there comes the glimpse. The wall is up, a perfect gust. The surge is there for KP, and he can still run. Remember, that's a level 2. Can't go all the way down, and this should be first blood right now. Even leaves an extra Iron Shell over on Kuro, who's probably doing damage to Jirax.
Yeah, I think KB needs a little bit more experience than the offline players. You don't want to TP there. You want to TP back if you get glimpse, because they don't have a secondary way to stop his teleport. But now, kind of just forced to go back into the jungle there. He did buy out TPs before he died, so he has that going for him.
Just the fact that his TP is on cooldown for the moment means he can't go straight back to lane. Fada taking a hefty amount of damage in the mid. They burned through all of his mana already. With his TP support coming in from Kuro, just buys a little bit more time. Looks like Fada's going to go all the way back, or at least as far back to the courier, which is only coming with boots, so yeah, he's got to go all the way home. And Jirax is the one who's forced to defend the bottom lane. How, as well as Chorn, starting to creep skip it out, trying to inflict some heavy damage to the tier 1 tower. You lose your Darkseer, sure, that's not great. But if you can get more space, and Hal is able to get that extra gold from the tower early on, maybe this Armored or Blink timing from Hal was able to be increased.
But Liquid are doing much better in their support leveling. Disruptor, I think, is a very hard hero to get levels on early. He's almost level 4, and then Jerax is pretty safe on the bottom lane. You have Kaka doing a lot of stacks, so I suppose he can catch up that way, but he's only level 2 at the moment.
KP's going to get really sad in this top lane in just a bit. Dro's already 5.5 levels in, so once she hits level 6, obviously you get the aura increase across the map, but it also makes it very easy for Matumberman to get rid of those Iron Shell creeps quickly. And that's where KP starts losing his advantage in this lane.
Yeah, they can just move him to the jungle, and I think he can just buff up Sven to be somewhat useful in team fights. However, Rubik's still struggling in terms of levels, kind of wandering around. But Liquid don't have the most aggressive supports. Phoenix and Disruptor are not known for roaming around the map very, very early on, and it looks like they will try to turn up the aggression. Chuan and Kaka smoked up near the Radiant Secret Shop.
How's forcing into this bottom lane too at the same time. So Fortification had to be expended by Liquid. How triggered his God Strength to ensure this tower, and Jirax, he's just hoping Like, if he's able to hit it, which he's able to, the Fire Spirit's able to connect, making it very difficult for Hal to just get this last little swing in. So it's a small little duel between Jirax and Hal. In fact, Hal's going to stand up, attacking into Jirax, dropping him very low. Then he takes the tower. So they find that one while up on top lane. Mind Control crushing up, trying to run away too. They get more. Chuan surge forward. He's able to get through the wall, but he needs the pickup. Telekinesis still on cooldown after the first gank.
Nice anticipation by Newbee up there to save KP from a second time. It was very easy to kill him the first time, and they thought they had a second easy kill on him.
So Newbee, like, you give away first blood, but now you get one in return. Progression of the lanes is not too shabby. The Sven already fairly farmed up, and while the stacks weren't always perfect, there's still a triple stack over on the Newbee Ancients. So there's an injection of money that can come the way of the Sven.
I wonder what item build he's going to go for. Armlet is very useful versus the Slaughter Amp and the Drought damage.
Oh, they found Mind Control again, pick him up, throw him back in again. The Crush, very ineffective. Kaka being blown off by the Gust, actually flying almost sideways there. But with a rotation to move to the top lane, they have Exorcism available. It looks like Newbee just want to make sure all of these Tier 1 towers are lost, and Liquid start losing map control because of this.
Yeah, and Drought strat not able to do any damage to any of the T1s at the moment. One of the huge downsides of having Medusa to your lineup. Fada, you can't really go to the other lanes.
Control, finding Hal. They're going to bring in extra support. No TPs are coming just yet from Newbee. Hal still has Stormbolt available.
And maybe they can seal the stacks if they had some level split shot on the Medusa, but none picked up yet by Fada.
They're here to defend the mid lane. Splinter Blast able to take care of a lot of the Wave's life. Also hitting Fada quite heavily, so he's down to half of his mana. Long TP in from Chuan. He's got boost, but Mind Control's got sprint, so obviously Mind Control's going to win that foot race, even though he doesn't have feet. Hal, wait for the opening, Mind Control. Here he comes again. There's still no amplification. So while all this is going on, Team Liquid, they're using their Drow, and now, okay, dive into Nova. Hal gets the stun over a Mind Control, is allowed to back out until the Glimpse drags Hal back underneath the Tier 1 tower. He was still fairly tanky, it took him a while, but Liquid, Fada, low 60. But Sunray is balanced, and Fada will get a lot of life back now.
And Newbee wondering how the hell he got level 6 already. They're still struggling to find level 4. They need to do these stacks to equalize the levels. That's a very early level 6 from Phoenix.
Problem is they keep failing the stacks. This is now the second time I've seen Kaka drag that creep wave, the Ancients, out towards the riverside, and it failed both times.
I think they just need to keep on taking it early. It's really hard when it's this large, but Hal hasn't been able to take out the stack. Last game it was KP not doing the stacks. They just need to do it at some point instead of waiting.
He's got 4 points up in Cleave and still got the God Strength available, and he's going to commit the God Strength to this too. Kaka trying to tank it up a little bit by using his Cold Embrace. And Liquid actually pushing both Jirax and Kuro down to the bot lane. They're primarily trying to babysit Kuro so he's able to hit his Static Storm, get his level 6 up and running. Hal's able to finish up the camp, so this should be majority of his armlet.
So they need the Death Prophet to do a lot of damage in these team fights for them, just because the Sven, he's going to have a really difficult time moving around. He has no BKB, so he can't deal with the kinetic field, like even the Gust, Frost Arrows from the Drought Ranger, and more importantly, like the Medusa and the Stone Gaze plus the Egg combo, which he can't really do anything about. Maybe if Darkseid gets a sick initiation with the Vacuum, but he doesn't have any levels of Vacuum yet.
Yep. He needs time. Like, KP understands that he is not a combat hero at the moment. But unfortunately, because they also took out the Tier 1 towers, it's the downside about it. He can't just have the creep wave on top of his own Tier 1. There's no safe place for him to farm apart from that small camp next to the secret shop. So he has to start farming up inside the Dire jungle. Like, Kaka is a long way forward on this top lane. He'll TP down to the bottom lane now. He's not level 6 yet. He was trying to get it up on the top lane, but he's just shy by 54 XP points.
And Liquid trying to make a statement
Where's
with
that
this
ward?
T1.
Here they come down. The dive's going to come forward instantly into the Nova. Splinter Blast not bouncing around. Hal's going to get stunned up. He's not in a great position. They're trying to get rid of that Nova Ray. Can't do it. Jirax will pop out, finding the stun into the Sunray too. They're still underneath this Tier 1 tower, Team Liquid, but they're taking the fight. Fada moving from support to now core over to Hal. Armor toggle time, combining it with the Cold Embrace. There's no follow-up damage, so Liquid will move over towards Kaka instead, staying inside the trees. Hal trying to lock Fada in, but the storm is up from Kuro. Hal finds the kill, but he's locked locked inside the wall. He'll dive the storm, and then with the stun over on Moo, the gust from the Tumberman. He's playing from the tree line. Moo is so low, but still alive. KP can't reach, but Tumberman, he's so close. Now with the surge, he just wants to punch him. Now he's got it. Mind Control with the stun, but the Iron Shell damage is too much. Mind Control has to back up with the movement in from Moo. He mops up Jirax. And you got the escape from Mind Control. He'll get away, and Team Liquid really being aggressive underneath that Newbee Tier 1 tower.
Very necessary buyback coming out from Newbee there. I like KP's there. KP's play there. Dropped the wall in the back and just kept punching people with his Ion Shell. Did whatever he could for that fight and prevented Liquid from taking that tower. It was very important that Newbee made a move there, or else Liquid would just go to the pit and Newbee would be fighting in a very unfavorable position without the T1 there. So nice fight by them. And Hal still doing those Ancients. Kakash still trying to stack them up a little bit more.
Hal might be a little bit sad that he ended up dying, but it might be a little bit sadder too once Tubman's able to have a little bit more range to work with. He's building in for this Dragonlance, Joe Ranger style. While Fada's still trying to tank up. So the net worth still looking pretty good for Newbee. The top two net worths belong right now to the Darkseer as well as the Sven. Overall, it's only about 1,500.
It just seems like they need a little bit more time.
Yep.
They do have the level 6 in the Winter Wyvern and the level 6 in the Rubik finally, and a couple points of vacuum onto KP, so their team fight is getting there. However, Liquid, I think they're much stronger. Everyone hits really hard, even without the completed Dragonlance onto the Drow Ranger.
This is why Liquid's probably looking to get aggressive again. They smoke maneuver into the Radiant jungle, putting down another aggressive Observer Ward. At the same time, Newbee also grouping up for what looks to be like a four-man smoke. They're away from the Observer Ward of Liquid that was just freshly planted. And actually, that's going to go for the mid. So, Liquid, you can have the Tier 1 tower on bottom lane, but the trade-off will be your mid if Newbee commit properly.
I don't think Newbee have that great of tower hitters, though. DP's decent, but you don't want to commit an Exorcism to this, even if it is an Arcane Rune Exorcism. Hal trying to do some damage to the top lane, but he's not in fighting shape, only 500 HP on him.
You do see Fada TP up to that top lane, and they do commit the Exorcism to it. So with Fada being up on the top, Team Liquid's chance of defending this mid lane is a little bit lower.
And no Blink Dagger yet on Mind Control. It's not going to be a clean jump from them.
Scan coming out right now from Liquid. They're trying to see if Newbee are having people back up on that high ground just behind the tower, which in a way they did. It was KP who was sitting on the stairs.
They don't have any burst, though. They saw that the Sven was kind of on top lane, but without that much HP. And what are they going to do? Lift into nothing?
Yeah.
Ion Shell, I suppose?
Yeah. Iron Shell, Splinter Blast, you have Curse available, but that's only going to help if Liquid cluster.
Yeah, it was, if like one hero walks up the hill, they shouldn't have been scared. I don't think they needed to use that scan, but it's better to use it.
This money is still rolling in for Newbee. Like, I'm just watching the Sven's timing for that BKB. He's already got the Yoga Club sitting on another 1,100 gold.
They need to be able to get on top of the Drow Ranger. You want that marksmanship to be off for as much of the fight as possible.
But in order to do that, you need to have both Blink and BKB on Sven.
You can just haste them then with the surge.
That could work. Newbee, 5-man smoke maneuver. They're coming over to the Dire Ancients at the moment, which Liquid are farming up. And now Kaka, does he go for the curse? He gets the vision up. Mind Control looking for the Copper Crush too. The silence, okay, they curse over on Disruptor. Now push Mind Control over the Sunrise, trying to keep him up. But then again, that cleave damage. How? Carving up the Slanner as well as the Disruptor. And then we'll mop up the rest of the Liquid Ancients. And this is a free ticket to go to that Tier 1 tower. It's already heavily injured. With just the illusions the KP has, they can just attack the tower directly. They don't need the creep wave for it. But Hal actually burns. Okay, yep. Just the war cry, ready to go. The Exorcism is off cooldown. But how far can you go now? You've taken out all the Tier 1 towers. You have to look at a bigger objective, and it's actually not a BKB. It's going to be the Echo Saber coming in from this vent.
They've had a lot of problems dealing with the egg, especially when Jerax cast it like at the immediate start of the fight when Newbee aren't quite in position yet. So this will help a lot with that. Decent amount of attack speed from him.
Do you still then try and go into the BKB, or do you get the blink and rely on Surge then?
I don't think he needs BKB this game. It's a little bit problematic versus a Disruptor, but that's why you have the rest of your team. You have the Winter Wyvern and the Darkseer to drag them into a position where you can just cleave them. You bring them to you, as opposed to Hal having to run in on them.
Great Observer Ward from Newbee. Actually scouts out Liquid moving down towards Roshan. They got another one sitting inside the river. Liquid will put down their own one, but instantly Chorn's all over it. Takes care of that Dire Obs. They'll get rid of the Sentry too. And Team Liquid, they still want Roshan. Amplification is on him, but look at that surging up. There's your stun. They're going to catch out Disruptor. Hal wants a quick kill. Sean will end up stealing the Lightning. But with the amplification up over on Roshan, maybe Newbee.
Liquid can't leave this pit.
Yeah, they've left it. They don't have their Disruptor. They don't have their big AoE controller. You can come in for a Nova. They're actually going to smoke. They're coming back in again. The smoke's going to be broken right now. KP was the one on the front lines. The Roshan almost down. Hal finishing the job. Picks up the Aegis, the Immortal. You're going to lose KP for this. The Cold Embrace from Kaka being used on himself, but then the pick up on Matama, dragging him in very, very close. No way to run away, or maybe up the hill. Fighter Curse, he's going to stay exactly where he is. Mind Control and Fighter. Now they come back to finish the job. The double silence from Mu. Durax will get the stun. This will buy a little bit more time thanks to that Nova. They'll burn through the Aegis, the Immortal, but Mu, the Spirit Siphon's doing some work here for Fada. They just need a little bit more damage. Mind Control with the Crypt Swarm is dropping him low. Okay, a double damage rune just magically spawns up from Mu, but he misses uphill, attacking into Mind Control. He'll still try to have a crack over towards Fader, but down the bottom tier is Kuro, who's on the run from Hal. The stun's up in 2, 1. The creep wave gives the vision. Hal needs to get in range. Kuro break for the trees. Stay in the trees. Down into the tree line. The creep wave can't follow him in there, but Hal, the loop around the back. Find Kuro and slum him. Very quick with the Echo Saber.
And Hal was able to get the Aegis there in Liquid. It's really difficult playing Drow Strats when you do not get that very first Roshan. And now Sven completed with a Blink Dagger. Drow feels a little squishy at this point. They were just not in position for that fight. You don't want to take a fight 4-on-5, but when Roche is at half with Amp already on him, you're forced. Yeah, you're forced to. It was a really nice egg by Jerax. Jerax, I think, made the best out of a bad situation, using that Sun Ray to take down Sven with the first hit.
It's just so difficult, though, like when Newbee are able to isolate one hero. Like, you get the initial pick over on the Disruptor, then they go down, it's like, well, who's going to be our next target? KP holds them out, then the Curse isolates another 2, so you can go for just that one isolated hero, come back for the 2. It's like Newbee could just bounce from one target to the next, and there's little Liquid can do about it just thanks to the heavy control.
It would have been much worse had they not lost Darkseer in that early part of the team fight. Darkseer has to do a little bit better job of positioning himself, making sure that he's not focused down. He's their big team fight. He can save everyone else.
Well, KP now has a Blink Dagger, so positioning is going to be a lot easier for him in the next engagement.
Yep, and I like the Ghost Scepter pickup on the Death Prophet. They can't really punish a Ghost Scepter pop. Not that much magic damage, a little bit from Static Storm, but aside from that.
Well, Liquid were looking for that Observer Ward. They're not going to find it. Still sitting on the edge of the pit. Top tier 2 tower gets pressured by Hal. Fada will TP up. And Fortification also being expended. Looks like Hal kind of wants to go in again. He's got Kaka behind him. But it's the smoke rotation up from the other 3 players of Newbee. Who are trying to find the opening. They won't see it, however. The creep wave will come in. They'll realize, okay, this isn't right. Something is wrong. And they could just take the tower unless Liquid. Here they come.
If they get a long duration silence on him, actually it's only level 1 silence, so he should be able to pop Stone Gaze regardless, and then Liquid can kind of swoop in. It's not the best fight for Newbee going on to the Medusa. When they get level 6 silence, I think, or level 4 silence rather, for 6 seconds, I think they can.
Sean actually just started his TP, then instantly cancelled it. Might have been because his Ven was already headed down to the bottom lane, which is where he probably wanted to go.
Oh, there's a scan that comes out. It does catch out Kaka.
It's only if Kaka hangs around, which he's not, he's going to TP out. And so is KP. Yeah, Newbee are getting the hell out of here.
But Liquid still think they're around. Just waiting for a jump. Maybe, ideally it would be the Sven for them, but Sven's showing on the bottom lane.
Even if you don't get the heroes, you can still attack into the tier 1 tower.
I don't know if you want to push into the Blink Darkseer. I don't think it was revealed to Liquid.
It's still a Drow strat. Like, you need to be able to take out buildings early on. Like, this is the push. They get an Alpha Wolf behind them too. So the damage output of Team Liquid is quite high. The Splinter Blast makes life a little bit more difficult, so there's obviously a fortified tower.
I think it makes life very difficult for them. Anyways, they don't have Hal here. Hal still has 9 seconds left on his TP.
Wait for the timing. There's your blink. They end up finding the Winter Wyvern. Jirax gets silenced by Mu, so you can take Sunray out of this fight. The tier 1 tower will drop, but you've still got Hal forcing in that bottom lane, but they're going to start the fight up on top. The back, and the Nova will be coming out. The stuns were still pretty good, but Mu locked inside the storm. Mu is gone straight away. The XM is already burned, so there's no point for a buyback, and they run into the trees. KP will drop as well, and Team Liquid, they take the fight. quite handily, and now they'll find Kaka over in the trees. Hao wants to help out the stun. He needs the cleave. The curse is out, however, making it so Hao can't really do that much damage, but maybe he can get a little bit more control. Mind control. The cleave is coming in again. The split blast. Kaka just keeps pumping it out from the rear end, and Chuan moving forward. He's got Crush stolen, looking for it on mind control. Is actually going to miss it out, and now Chuan will die as well. Kaka and Hao are still on the run. They know mind control's in the trees, but he actually blinks south away from the rest of Newbee and will TP away to safety. Expensive fight, still a 3 for 2, but Liquid take that tier 1 tower on top.
Nice glimpse set up onto them, and Newbee, they were just not ready. Like, Sven can't get to the fight. If he TP's in, he just gets glimpsed back, and then Liquid just take the T2 out. They have to play better around the Disruptor, and I think Darkseer had a very nice engagement over there with a 3-man vacuum in a wall to save the Death Prophet, but Ghost Scepter isn't going to save you from that.
And Death Prophet just exploded so quickly. Now Hao, he's back up for this top tier 2 tower. They're waiting for someone to come in, and it will be Jirax. Now Jirax has no idea that Kaka and Hao are hanging around here. The vision just isn't there for him.
They have to be more careful about the Winter's Curse. They used it like as Hao was about to burst people down with his God Strength.
Yeah,
and
that,
he's
that
like, who do I hit now?
It's like, well, I can attack, but I'm going to do minimal damage and still keep myself in a risky position.
I don't think Drow's an ideal target to cast a curse on because she has a lot of armor. 24 at this point. I think you want to cast on Slaughter when he has Amp. Maybe the Disruptor or the Phoenix, so you can get their hands on them.
So close to the trees. The pings are coming out right now. It's like, you should get the hell out of there. I think that was actually Chuan pinging at Hao. Jirax actually just committed his Nova underneath the tower. Not certain if he felt he's being jumped on or what that was about.
Not sure.
Just checking the R button still works.
Mu is very underfarmed. He has 6,000 net worth, well behind any of the other cores. I guess aside from the Slardar. But he needs more items. He needs BKB at some point so he can just walk around the fight and do his thing. Not get glimpsed in a bad position.
Well, it's close to it for Sven. 1,100 on him at the moment with everything else still sitting there. And after he takes out these Ancients, blinks up to the other cam, he should have the cash for it. Mind Control is also playing very, very defensive. He's getting close towards that 4-staff.
It's okay. He doesn't need that many items to make big plays. He like dodged that crush from the Rubik and then got the counter kill on the Rubik. That was very nice. So proving that he can make plays without a blink, without a 4-staff, doesn't matter.
I wonder what happens too once Rubik picks up his blink. KP as well as Mind Control are so close. They can probably sniff each other's body odor at the moment through the tree line. But Mind Control, KP just keeps the push going. And no one's coming over from Team Liquid. They're too busy just trying to get that little bit of extra money into the Drow Ranger who built into a Shadow Blade. Trying to be a little bit more elusive over on Matumberman. Easier way to guarantee your Gust too. But the way Newbee are fighting, like, they're 5 men all the time together.
It could also be really useful to build a Silver Edge and just hit the Sven or the Death Prophet with it. They just need to survive, I think, the initial burst. The vacuum wall into Sven, Echo Saber with God Strength hit, and then the Exorcism. If they can survive that and then maybe take down the Death Prophet, they'll be in a pretty good spot. But it'll all come out from like a maybe very timely Stone Gaze and
Newbee.
Good Phoenix play.
Newbee. If they walk into Roshan and stay for 15 seconds, he's going to spawn for him. So they have a quick peek in. Rubik's going to throw down the Observer Ward, but they're like, it's like 10 seconds. That's all they need to do. Where they're waiting under the cover of smoke. Dro's going to show herself. Chuan moves up. They understand they're up there. Blink Rush. Instantly to Nova. Chuan and Mu, they're burning up too quickly. Chuan locked inside that storm. The Nova's about to pop as well. Mu, KP, and Kaka, they can't go anywhere. The Sun Rays turned on. Mind Control all over it. They're going to bring down at least 2 either way because Hal ripped apart the back line, bringing down the Drow Ranger. Jirax also has to be careful. He's actually dying to himself at the moment. It's the wall illusion which is attacking him. Thanks to the Spirit, he'll be able to survive. The 2-for-2 trade-off as both teams walk into each other. And now KP up on the top, Mind Control. The Surge is still up for KP. He needs the distance so he can start the blink, but because you actually have the amplification on him, KP wants to run, and they have the damage. The Darkseer will explode on the top lane.
That was a really nice jump from Liquid, and they popped right in full vision of that Observer Ward. That Observer Ward was plopped before the Smoke Gank happened, and Chuan just kind of isolated as a Rubik. Reminds me of that LGD game.
But Hal's still finding more and more kills. Now he builds into what looks to be Chrysalis to Daedalus.
Yeah, you expect him to do that though with the BKB reveal, and he blinked to the opposite side of the Medusa so that he wasn't facing the Medusa for the Stone Gaze. So this means the Drow Ranger has to stay close to the Medusa so that they can kite the Sven. You have to kite his BKB with the Stone Gaze.
Liquid. We're back to Roshan. There's still no KP. He's on the sidelines for another 5 seconds. Kaka could probably have a bit of a peek over. As they understand, thanks to the Observe Ward, which is over inside the Radiant Jungle from Team Liquid, they see where Hao as well as Kaka want to initiate from. Roshan's low. Roshan, in fact, will now go down. Hao, because he gets hit by the blink, by the snake, can't blink out. In fact, it's going to be the blink in coming from My Control for the BKB with God Strength. They rip through the Slider, and with a pickup on the Drow Ranger from Chuan, Tomlin's into a bit of a bad position, but still, it's now a Roshan trade-off. You're a little bit in trouble there, Phoenix. He's still got Icarus Dive as well as Nova, but they're waiting behind it. The Observer and Sentry's down. They've blinked back from KP, catching up to Mentalman. They put the Linker Sphere on, so there's no other control factor to come their way. But they're trying to make the most out of the end of this exorcism. Maybe they can inflict damage into this Tier 2 tower. Fortification is up for Team Liquid. They're blinking out. Jirax in through the tree line. The pickup from Chuan, thanks to the Observer Ward. They saw Jirax coming. The damage is high with the Suns as well. The Stormbolt's going to be there. So Phoenix is out of the fight, unless she wants to buy back, but it's going to be worth it to defend the Tier 2 tower. Fada still wants to have a little bit of an opening here, but he's not going to find it because Newbee are bailing.
Yep, Slaughter's back. Kuro looking for a glimpse opportunity. Will he get on Kaka? Oh my goodness, he was so close. And how he salvaged that fight with that BKB pop as Slaughter came in. That was so clutch.
So quick. Lightning fast reactions. And again, we see the power of that Sven. And they just keep fueling him as well. There's 10 kills over on Hal. The biggest killer on the game right now, sitting at almost 17,000 net worth, a full 6K in front of the Medusa.
Medusa's not dying in these fights. She's only died once this game, and will continue to scale. This is kind of like where she starts to ramp up her farm after she gets her second item and can farm quickly, maybe not as quickly as a Sven, but much more quickly than the first 20 minutes.
Is Medusa still enough, though, when you're losing your other cores around you? Like, when Matolman drops down, like, you lose that bonus 56 damage, which he's currently relying on.
You have Amp, and you have Drow Ranger, so I think, like, even the supports can do a fair amount of right-click damage come late game. So it's not that big of a deal for them, and they are building for late game Drow Ranger with the Shadow Blade as opposed to something else that, like a Yasha, I would say, that would be more heavily focused onto pushing down the towers. So they can get some pretty good picks too. I think like the Darkseer has to be very scared because of the Shadow Blade pickup from the Drow Ranger. The Winter Wyvern can't do his normal cheeky, let's push out the silent Winter Blast tricks.
Do you actually also look towards the Medusa to get, I don't know if she actually wants to get a Diffusal Blade, just because of the amount of Ghost Scepters which are on the field. Like Mu, instead of going for like the bigger items you normally see on a Death Prophet, like it's Yule's and Ghost Scepter.
That's for the Slaughter plus Drow Ranger burst, I think. And like the Medusa, you don't want Diffusal Blade. You build up for like the six slot Medusa, because I think she is one of the best late gamers. Mm-hmm. So you want items that are going to stick. And Diffusal Blade is just not the ideal option. You don't get the mana burn on the other heroes, and you're not moving around in the fights a lot. I think it's good if you're chasing a lot, but Medusa, you just stand there under the protection of the egg, wait for them to come to you. It's because Sven has to run up to Medusa, and with the Lincoln Sphere, it's going to be very difficult for how to get his hands on Fada.
Big damage starting to arrive for Hao as the full Daedalus done. We're only 29 minutes in, and he's practically 6-slotted. Like, it's not the biggest powerhouse of the 6 slots, but still a very comfortable position for this event.
And a couple pretty big items coming out. Drow Ranger with the BKB, and we see the Darkseer building into a Crimson Guard. Very good versus the Medusa, and all this right-click from the Drow lineup.
Newbee are coming over. They're going to surge over on Chuan. Going to have a very quick glimpse of Matumban and Kuro coming down, but it's Hao who's trapped. He BKBs, goes for the stun, finds Kuro, probably take one hit. No, it's going to be 2 to get the kill, and then they move over to Matumban, closing the distance. There's another quick pop. The Nova will pop down. Hao needs to run away from this. He's so low on life. The Mystic Snake is not enough to kill him off. It's the rest of the fight with the Yules up from Mu, able to evade the fight. They're TPing up. Hao, he's actually TPing up, but My Control finds him in the tree line. A big kill. Slaughter getting over 1K gold for that.
Yeah, that's about even for his buyback at that point. And Liquid looking to pursue a lot further. Drow Ranger actually did a lot of damage to Sven during his BKB Warcry. I think he popped Warcry. It looked like he didn't, but
yeah, she's hitting like a truck. And this is just getting better now for Liquid because Fada, that Skadi is about to be completed. And with Sven on the sidelines for 45 seconds, Liquid can inflict some level of damage. And that's why you see Moon now already on the bottom lane, trying to push this out as quickly as he possibly can. So at least there's some level of like side lane trade coming in. Because it's the danger zone when you're a Dragon Lance or a Drow Ranger. She doesn't have to enter the base in order to do a heavy amount of damage.
Oh, this is very problematic for Mu. Or for Hao, rather. The Skadi out on the Medusa. So this is, like, they had a lot of damage versus them last time. That's one way to deal with the Sven. Now they have the Skadi, and they have the Stone Gaze. So they need alternate damage sources. They need big vacuum walls coming out from the Darkseer. They need Death Pop to stay alive, but I don't know. It just looks like Hao is the only person that's really farmed in Newbee and can do a lot of damage in the team fights. I guess there's Witcher's Curse. We haven't seen a good one from Kaka yet.
Yeah. Well, it's because you haven't really, like, Liquid haven't given them the opportunity. They're always spaced out. They're always moving around like 2 or 3s. Like, even that bottom fight, you had 2 coming in from the top, 3 coming in from the bottom. There's no, like, hey, we can get a big vac curse off. Maybe you can with just the 2 or the 3, but then you've got to commit God Strength. But that's not the way that fight began. It came with a pincer movement on the Sven, who had to BKB and stun, and he still only hit 1 target with his stun as well.
Yeah, even if you see 2 heroes, like if you see Disruptor and Drow, like they did in the fight, you can just Winter's Curse as Disruptor, and Disruptor should die during that. If not, then you still get the silence to follow up, and then Disruptor's gonna die without getting a spell off. That's what you want. You don't want any of these heroes to get their spells off if you're a newbie.
Hao got a quick snipe on the tier 2 tower on the top lane. This now opens up the tier 3 for Assault. It almost levels up the towers. Like, that mid tower is very, in fact, both the remaining tier 2 towers from Team Liquid are on a B-stick of life. Liquid need to keep the pressure out so this doesn't, like, that the creep wave just doesn't push in.
And Newbee have wisened up this series and finally bought themselves a gem.
Remove that vision from Team Liquid if possible. Fada comes to defend. The Mystic Snake's just going to be a bit of a pain. Takes out the creep wave and makes it difficult to attack into the tier 2.
Well, the gem's also really important versus Matumba, man. So they can kill him in team fights. But still, not a good way to deal with a Medusa. If anything, like, a newbie might consider getting, like, Diffusal Manta is most melee's choice, if not Sven, but like Juggernaut, those sort of heroes, when you want to deal damage from Medusa. But he's still continuing to scale, and that net worth gap in between the Sven and Medusa is now only 3,000. It used to be just 6,000 not too long ago.
Newbee had to come home. They willingly let their tower take about 500 damage because they was probably still wondering if they could attack Liquid. But with a double creep wave, including Catapult pushing in, now that tier 3 tower is a little bit chipped.
So now Sven has a problem with he needs too many items. He needed the BKB to deal with their team fights, the Disruptor, and so on. But he also needs armor because he just died of physical damage last fight, and some way to deal with the amplify damage. He's probably also going to need an MKB later because Drow typically builds into a butterfly. So I don't know if he's going to have that much freedom to go any unusual items.
Kaka walked within an inch of the Observer Ward. Now he's finally going to find it. And they'll give it over to Hao, because obviously he needs more money.
And this is a very quick Roshan respawn, 30 seconds, and Liquid are already posed around the pit. Newbee, I think they're looking for a smoke. It's about that time.
Yep, and there it is. 5-man smoke maneuver. They're going to push up through mid. Thanks to their Observer Ward, they understand the Team Liquid are here in force in the mid lane, but if they can get that jump, the Sun's over on fire, they trigger the Lincoln Spear. Hao will get the stun as well, but it's up on the cliff side. KP, the fact, the wall not really having that much of an effect, but they still want Fighter down with a Nova, however, and the Stone Gaze. They can't go anywhere. The split shot from Fighter. Moves about to die, but he is with a T-Rex pop. They find the kill. KP to go. Hao to join him in the grave. The 3 cores have been lost here for Newbee. And Team Liquid, with a 75-second window until this vents back up again, they can go straight down the mid. Don't worry about Roshan, you're claiming racks.
And Newbee with the right idea there, jumping onto the Medusa, but Hao misses Blink. His Blink was onto the low ground, and he stunned onto the high ground, but he had to walk all the way over, and they had a very long silence on the Medusa, but she still had enough mana to cast Stone Gaze, and that is where the fight just went completely south for Newbee.
You can see it again here. The vac, the control, it just doesn't happen. At the same time, back in the real world, Oh, wow, that is such a horrible, horrible time. But back in the real world, Chorn having a little bit of trouble, locked inside the wall. The Cold Embrace keeping him alive a little bit. They get through the tier 3 tower. He steals Mystic Snake. The Chorn is now down 2. He has buyback. But you accept the fact right now, Newbee, you've lost your mid-racks. Liquid, they can rotate down to the bottom lane, but they do not want to overstay their welcome. 21 seconds now until the Sven's back up. That's the one they'll be really worried about, but they get a buyback out from Chuan. Liquid are happy with what they got. They take the racks, they now don't overstay their welcome, and they move towards Roshan.
Another small thing that changed that big team fight was Medusa's recent pickup of the Talisman of Evasion. She had picked it up right before, and 25% versus like Echo Saber's Fed is going to be a lot.
Liquid, it looks like the dream to get back into that final. Maybe this time around they're able to win the major.
Yeah, they taste it at this point. In Newbee, they're at a loss at how to approach these team fights. Winter's Curse just not being very effective versus like the Dragon Lance and the Drow Ranger just makes positioning much, much easier. Silver Edge to deal with the Sven. No BKB on a Death Prophet. She just gets controlled by the Static Storm, the Kinetic Field, and the Egg.
And Newbee needs something. They really need something.
Vacuum Wall.
That's pretty much it.
Cleave.
A lot more than like just a one hero target. They try to use all of their control abilities just to kill off one hero who they didn't even get. That's a salty kind of way to look at a fight for Newbee, but you got no other choice. Like right now, you need to catch Liquid with their pants down somehow. But you also you gave them. I think they actually didn't give the gem over. Kaka's still holding on to that.
Still Liquid. So they realize if they push up high ground, they do have the potential to lose to that huge team fight combination, the Vacuum Wall into just Sven. Like those two heroes alone can wipe 3, 4, 5 heroes of Liquid. So now they're trying to limit their other avenues of defeat, which is, I would say, them split pushing a lot. Darkseer just being a nuisance in the side lanes, and Death Prophet getting items. These two heroes are the heroes they need to concentrate on. Sven's already very, very farmed, and they have the tools to deal with them. It's more so to other heroes. So now you'll see the Shadow Blade on the Slardar. So he is a very big threat to any of these split pushing heroes, and anyone that farms the jungle is going to have to deal with him. And they see it. They know.
Yeah, that Observer Ward sees all. But thanks to the gem, which Kuro has also purchased.
But they can't farm.
That's
the problem.
Newbee's going.
Like no one is farming aside from Hal.
Moo's getting a little bit, but it's not a hell of a lot. At least he's got the plate mail now, so there's a little bit more armor onto that Death Prophet.
But Fada is, I think, unkillable at this point. He has Butterfly, there's no MKB in sight. He has a ton of damage from the Drow, so he's hitting for 300. That's without split shot on, so a little bit less because of that. And the cheese, like Medusa cheese, good luck.
Matubman also is going to survive and keep that aura up. He's finished up a Satanic to go with that Silver Edge. And here comes Liquid. They're going to come in through the front lines. Fada's the first man. They burn through him a little bit, but not that much.
Splinter Blast is good at anti-push, but not when it's just a single hero hitting your tower. And the Dragon Lance on Drow Ranger also makes it really easy to high ground siege. Look at that range.
As long as she doesn't miss every time.
You still don't have to worry about
They Lincoln Sphere. They go just Splinter Blast, so say goodbye to the Creep Wave. Hal's going to cleave it. Now the curse over on Fada. They need this Medusa down with a vac. The wall will come up as well. Fada being controlled up by the Rubik Ram, but Fada still has that cheese available. Now he's going to trigger it. Still losing a lot of life. The jump in from G-Rex. He doesn't follow up the Nova, but the Exorcism is there from Moo. Matama wants to try and fight this one. The Nova is down. Hal, Cold Embrace. He can't walk away from the Nova hit. He's going to pop, and now he's down. Instant buyback. They need to keep fighting. Newbee needs some extra kills here. They need to hold their racks. The mid lane's already being pressured, but Liquid are not giving them the opportunity. They've bailed all the way back up to their own high side. And they take the tier 3 tower. They get a big buyback out from Newbee.
And that is not how you want to use Winter's Curse. It was like worse than a Primal Roar at that point. They did have the vacuum come out a little bit late, but I don't think that either the Winter Wyvern or the Darkseer were ready for that.
There's almost that moment where it's like, oh, this guy's just far enough out, like we just lock him down, then we can all come in and position ourselves.
But it's Medusa.
Yeah, it's a Medusa.
Her effective HP is, what, 7,000 maybe? Almost 7,000?
And it's extremely high. So Team Liquid. So you've at least burnt through the cheese, but the Aegis Immortal is still sitting on Matumberman as well.
Yeah, they can go for another round with Drow being that siege engine instead of the Medusa. And Newbee with no buyback up on Sven, or just one mistake from being eliminated for the Manila Major.
Looks like Moo's going to buy out for this. He's going to pick up a Shiva's Guard. So Moo's got something a little bit more to work with, but Liquid, they're here on the hunt. They get the Blink Crush over on Kaka. They still see him thanks to that Observe Ward that's there. Say goodbye to that too. Kaka blinks away. Hao needs to walk with him too. In fact, he's not even going to walk. He just blinks out. There's a little bit of trouble. Moo is trapped. Remember, no buyback. He already bought the Shiva's Guard. The Yule Scepter up, and Kaka, he can't come close. In fact, he gets locked in by Kuro. Moo will walk past the storm, but he's down. 1 minute without the Death Prophet. Liquid, they are very close to doing it. KP, this is his one moment. The back, the wall, the double stun. They need that big damage out, but they just don't have it. They try and push forward, but then the Stone Gaze, Hao being crushed. They're going to focus him down. If Hao goes, it's over. They've lost too much, and there it is, GG! Team Liquid are going to the grand finals of the Manila Major.
The Medusa pick was a stroke of genius by Kuro. It is just incredibly good at dealing with the Sven. All these range heroes. Fantastic positioning, did not get caught by a multiple-man curse wall, which Newbee were just hoping for, praying for the entire game. And with that, Newbee will exit the tournament.
That they will. They'll have to settle for third place in Team Liquid. 2 major finals in a row. The big question we're going to find out, are they capable of winning it this time around? They hit a hurdle last time, and this time they're up against OG.
And Liquid showing that they have so many dimensions to their team. Like any one of their cores can carry them to victory. This game, I think, Fado played especially well. Matama Man and Mind Control as impressive as always. He's been the MVP for me for the past couple of days.
Yeah, he really has been amazing. The whole Liquid lineup was awesome. Like, you had such a big combination. The Darkseer 5th pickup. You knew Newbee was hoping for that big combination. They've destroyed so many other teams with it, but Liquid's positioning, always on the mark, always making it so difficult for Newbee to get that early advantage to a point where they're forced to curse one target who's slightly out of position, also on purpose, just so he actually tanks up these big abilities.
And don't forget about Jerax. Jerax also had that early level 6 at 8 minutes, and they fought with Supernova, and Newbee just got destroyed. That was way too early of a team fight for Newbee to win.
Yeah, it was terrific DOTA from Team